From Struggle to Success, My Journey to Mastering English. Chapter 1, The Struggle of Learning. English. I still remember the day I decided to learn English like it was yesterday. I was sitting in my small, cluttered bedroom, surrounded by textbooks and language learning materials, feeling overwhelmed and frustrated. I had always dreamed of speaking English fluently, of being able to communicate with people from all over the world, of reading books and watching movies in their original language. But as I sat there, staring blankly at the pages of my textbook, I couldn't shake the feeling that I was getting nowhere. I had tried everything. I had attended language classes, hired a tutor, and even spent hours practicing with language exchange partners. But no matter how hard I tried, I just couldn't seem to make progress. My pronunciation was terrible, my grammar was shaky, and my vocabulary was limited. I felt like I was stuck in a rut, and I didn't know how to get out. As I sat there feeling defeated, I couldn't help but think about all the times I had tried and failed to learn English. I remembered the countless hours I had spent studying, the tears I had shed over difficult grammar rules, and the frustration I had felt when I couldn't understand even the simplest conversations. It was a never-ending cycle of disappointment and disillusionment, and I was starting to lose hope. I looked around my room, taking in the familiar sights and sounds. My bed was unmade, my desk was cluttered with papers and pens, and my bookshelf was overflowing with language learning materials. I felt a pang of sadness as I realized that I had been stuck in this same routine for years, making little to no progress. I thought about all the things I wanted to do with my life, all the places I wanted to see and the people I wanted to meet. I wanted to travel the world, to experience different cultures and meet new people. I wanted to read books and watch movies in their original language, to understand the nuances and subtleties of the English language. But most of all, I wanted to be able to communicate with others, to be able to express myself and connect with people on a deeper level. As I sat there feeling the weight of my frustration and disappointment, I knew I had to make a change. I couldn't keep doing the same thing over and over, expecting different results. I needed to find a new way to learn English, a way that would actually work for me. I looked around my room, searching for inspiration. My eyes landed on my computer, which was sitting on my desk, staring blankly at me. I had a sudden realization I could use the internet to learn English. I could find online resources, watch videos, and listen to podcasts. I could connect with other language learners and get feedback on my progress. A surge of excitement ran through me as I realized the possibilities. I quickly opened up my laptop and started searching for language learning resources. I stumbled upon language learning blogs, YouTube channels, and online forums. I spent hours browsing through websites and watching videos, feeling a sense of hope and excitement that I hadn't felt in years. As I sat there, surrounded by the glow of my computer screen, I felt a sense of determination wash over me. I was going to learn English, no matter what it took. I was going to find a way to make it work, to overcome my struggles and achieve my goals. And as I sat there, feeling a sense of renewed purpose, I knew that I was on the verge of something big. Little did I know, my life was about to change in ways I never could have imagined. Asterisk asterisk. Part 2, YouTube Discovery, asterisk, asterisk. As I continued to browse through language learning resources, I stumbled upon a YouTube channel that caught my attention. The channel was called English Audiobooks, and it had a vast collection of audiobooks in English. I had never listened to an audiobook before, but something about this channel drew me in. Maybe it was the soothing voice of the narrator or the variety of books available, but I found myself clicking on one of the videos and pressing play. The first audiobook I listened to was The Great Gatsby by F. Scott Fitzgerald. I'd read the book before, but listening to it was a completely different experience. The narrator's voice brought the characters to life, and I found myself transported to the world of 1920s New York. I was captivated by the story and listened to the entire book in one sitting. As I listened to more audiobooks on the channel, I began to notice something remarkable. My comprehension of English was improving dramatically. I was able to understand complex sentences and vocabulary that had previously been beyond my grasp. I was also able to pick up on nuances of the language, such as idioms and expressions that I had never noticed before. I was amazed by the progress I was making and felt a sense of excitement and motivation. I started to listen to audiobooks every day, sometimes for hours on end. I would listen while I did chores, while I cooked, and even while I walked to school. I was obsessed with the idea of improving my English skills and was willing to do whatever it took to achieve my goal. As I delved deeper into the world of audiobooks, I discovered a new favorite author, Jane Austen. I had always been a fan of her writing, but listening to her books was a completely different experience. The narrator's voice brought the characters to life, and I found myself laughing and crying along with them. I listened to Pride and Prejudice and Sense and Sensibility multiple times, each time discovering new nuances and insights into the characters and their relationships. My love of audiobooks soon spread to other areas of my life. I started to listen to podcasts and online lectures, expanding my knowledge of the world and improving my listening skills. I even started to watch TV shows and movies in English, using subtitles to help me understand. My language skills were improving rapidly, and I felt a sense of pride and accomplishment. But as I continued to listen to audiobooks, I began to realize that there was more to language learning than just comprehension. I wanted to be able to speak and write in English as well. I wanted to be able to express myself and communicate with others in a way that felt natural and effortless, and so I started to look for ways to improve my speaking and writing skills. I began to search for language exchange partners online, hoping to find someone to practice speaking with. I also started to write journal entries and short stories in English, trying to improve my writing skills. And as I did, I started to notice something remarkable. My language skills were improving, but so was my confidence. I was no longer afraid to speak or write in English, and I was starting to feel like I was finally becoming the person I had always wanted to be. As I sat in my room, surrounded by my language learning materials, I felt a sense of gratitude and wonder. I had stumbled upon a new way of learning English, one that was fun and engaging, and that was helping me to improve my skills in ways I never thought possible. I was excited to see where this journey would take me, and I was eager to continue learning and growing. But little did I know, my journey was just beginning. I was about to discover a new world of language learning, one that would challenge me and push me to my limits. And it all started with a simple realization: the relationship between the price of a bond and the yield. Asterisk, asterisk. Chapter 3. First Experiences. As I continued to explore the world of audiobooks, I started to feel a sense of excitement and anticipation. I was finally making progress with my English skills, and I was eager to see how far I could take it. I started to listen to more challenging books, ones that pushed me to my limits and forced me to think critically. One of the first books I listened to was The Catcher in the Rye by J.D. Salinger. I'd always been fascinated by the story of Holden Caulfield, and I was excited to experience it in a new way. As I listened to the audiobook, I was struck by the narrator's voice, which brought Holden's character to life in a way that I had never experienced before. At first, I found it difficult to follow the story. The narrator's voice was fast-paced, and the vocabulary was challenging. I had to rewind the audio multiple times to understand what was happening. But as I continued to listen, I started to get into the rhythm of the story. I began to understand the characters and their motivations, and I found myself becoming invested in the plot. As I listened to the audiobook, I started to notice something remarkable. I was starting to understand the nuances of the language, the subtleties of the characters' emotions and motivations. I was picking up on idioms and expressions that I had never noticed before, and I was starting to use them in my own speech. But despite my progress, I still struggled with comprehension. There were times when I didn't understand what was happening, and I had to rewind the audio multiple times to get it. I felt frustrated and discouraged, wondering if I would ever be able to truly understand the language. One day, as I was listening to the audiobook, I had a breakthrough. I was listening to a particularly difficult passage, and I was struggling to understand what was happening. But then, suddenly, it clicked. I understood the context, the characters' motivations, and the nuances of the language. It was like a light bulb had gone off in my head, and I felt a sense of excitement and accomplishment. I realized that the key to understanding the language was not just to listen to audiobooks, but to also practice speaking and writing. I started to speak with native speakers, using online language exchange platforms to find language partners. I also started to write journal entries and short stories in English, trying to improve my writing skills. As I continued to practice, I started to notice significant improvements in my language skills. I was able to understand complex sentences and vocabulary, and I was able to express myself more clearly. I was starting to feel confident in my ability to communicate in English, and I was excited to see where this journey would take me. But despite my progress, I still faced challenges. There were times when I felt discouraged and frustrated, wondering if I would ever be able to truly master the language. I had to remind myself that language learning is a journey, not a destination, and that it takes time and effort to achieve fluency. As I sat in my room, surrounded by my language learning materials, I felt a sense of determination and resolve. I was going to continue to practice, to push myself to my limits, and to never give up. I was going to become fluent in English, no matter what it took. And as I looked back on my journey, I realized that it was not just about the language itself, but about the people and experiences that came with it. I had met new friends, learned about different cultures, and gained a new perspective on the world. I had discovered a new passion, a new hobby, and a new way of life. I was no longer just a language learner. I was a language explorer, and I was excited to see where this journey would take me next. Asterisk, asterisk, Chapter 4. Goal Setting. As I continued to make progress with my English skills, I started to think about my goals and what I wanted to achieve. I had been learning English for a while now, but I hadn't really thought about what I wanted to do with my new language skills. I decided to take some time to reflect on my goals and what motivated me to learn English in the first place. I remembered how I had always been fascinated by different cultures and languages, and how I had always wanted to be able to communicate with people from different backgrounds. As I thought about my goals, I realized that I wanted to be able to use my English skills to connect with people from different cultures and to learn more about their experiences. I wanted to be able to read books and watch movies in English without needing subtitles or translations. I wanted to be able to speak with native speakers and to understand their accents and expressions. I also realized that I wanted to use my English skills to improve my career prospects. I had always been interested in international business and marketing, and I knew that speaking English fluently would give me a competitive edge in the job market. With my goals in mind, I started to think about how I could achieve them. I knew that I needed to continue practicing my English skills, but I also knew that I needed to be more focused and intentional in my practice. I decided to set specific, measurable, and achievable goals for myself. I wanted to be able to hold a 30-minute conversation with a native speaker without feeling anxious or struggling to understand. I wanted to be able to read a book in English without needing a dictionary or translation. I wanted to be able to write a short essay in English without making too many mistakes. I also decided to create a study plan and schedule to help me achieve my goals. I set aside specific times each day to practice my English skills, whether it was listening to audiobooks, practicing speaking with language exchange partners, or writing in my journal. As I started to work towards my goals, I felt a sense of excitement and motivation. I knew that it wouldn't be easy, but I was determined to succeed. I was willing to put in the time and effort necessary to achieve my goals, and I was confident that I could do it. One day, as I was practicing my speaking skills with a language exchange partner, I had a breakthrough. I was able to hold a 30-minute conversation without feeling anxious or struggling to understand. I was able to express myself clearly and confidently, and I felt a sense of pride and accomplishment. I realized that setting specific goals and working towards them had made all the difference. I'd been able to focus my practice and make progress in a way that I hadn't been able to before. I was excited to see where my English skills would take me, and I was confident that I could achieve anything I set my mind to. As I looked back on my journey, I realized that learning English had been a transformative experience. It had opened up new doors and opportunities for me, and it had allowed me to connect with people from different cultures and backgrounds. I was grateful for the journey, and I was excited to see what the future held. I knew that I still had a long way to go, but I was ready for the challenge. I was ready to continue practicing, to continue learning, and to continue growing. I was ready to see where my English skills would take me, and I was excited for the journey ahead. Asterisk, asterisk. Chapter 5. Implementation and Progress. As I continued to work towards my goals, I started to notice significant improvements in my English skills. I was able to understand complex sentences and vocabulary, and I was able to express myself more clearly. I was starting to feel confident in my ability to communicate in English, and I was excited to see where this journey would take me. One day, I decided to take a big step and apply for a job at a multinational company. I'd always been interested in international business, and I knew that speaking English fluently would give me a competitive edge in the job market. I was nervous but excited as I submitted my application and waited for a response. A few days later, I received an email inviting me to an interview. I was thrilled and a bit intimidated at the same time. I knew that this was a great opportunity, but I also knew that I would be competing with native English speakers for the job. I spent hours preparing for the interview, practicing my responses to common interview questions, and researching the company's products and services. I also made sure to dress professionally and arrive early at the interview location. As I walked into the interview room, I felt a sense of calm and confidence. I knew that I had prepared well, and I was ready to showcase my skills and experience. The interview went smoothly, and I was able to answer all the questions confidently and clearly. A few days later, I received an email offering me the job. I was overjoyed and relieved, and I knew that all my hard work had paid off. I had achieved my goal of getting a job at a multinational company, and I was excited to start this new chapter of my career. As I started working at the company, I realized that my English skills were not just useful, but essential. I was able to communicate effectively with my colleagues and clients, and I was able to understand complex documents and reports. I was proud of myself for having worked so hard to achieve my goals, and I knew that I had made the right decision in investing in my English skills. But my journey didn't end there. I continued to work on my English skills, always looking for ways to improve and expand my knowledge. I started reading books and articles on topics that interested me, and I even started writing my own blog to practice my writing skills. As I looked back on my journey, I realized that learning English had been a transformative experience. It had opened up new doors and opportunities for me, and it had allowed me to connect with people from different cultures and backgrounds. I was grateful for the journey, and I was excited to see what the future held. I knew that I still had a long way to go, but I was ready for the challenge. I was ready to continue learning, growing, and improving my English skills. I was ready to see where my language skills would take me, and I was excited for the journey ahead. As I sat at my desk, surrounded by my colleagues and the hustle and bustle of the office, I felt a sense of pride and accomplishment. I had achieved my goals, and I had done it through hard work and determination. I knew that I would always be a language learner, but I was excited to see where this journey would take me. And as I looked out the window, watching the city go by, I knew that I was ready for whatever came next. I was ready to take on new challenges, to learn new things, and to grow as a person. I was ready to see where my English skills would take me, and I was excited for the journey ahead. Asterisk, asterisk. Chapter 6. Facing Challenges. Asterisk, asterisk. As I continued to work and improve my English skills, I began to face new challenges. One of the biggest challenges I faced was the difference in culture and work style between my home country and the United States. I had to adapt to a new way of working, with different expectations and communication styles. At first, it was difficult for me to adjust to the fast-paced and competitive work environment. I felt overwhelmed by the amount of work and the pressure to meet deadlines. I also struggled to understand the nuances of American business culture, such as the importance of networking and building relationships. Despite these challenges, I was determined to succeed. I worked hard to learn the new skills and adapt to the new culture. I attended training sessions and workshops to improve my communication and teamwork skills. I also made an effort to build relationships with my colleagues and learn from their experiences. However, just as I was starting to feel more confident, I faced another challenge. My manager assigned me a new project that required me to work with a team of native English speakers. I was nervous about communicating with them and worried that my language skills would not be good enough. I spent hours preparing for the project, researching the topic and practicing my presentation skills. I also asked my colleagues for feedback and advice on how to improve my communication skills. Despite my preparation, I still felt anxious on the day of the presentation. I was worried that I would make mistakes or not be able to understand the questions from my colleagues. But as I started to present, I realized that I was more prepared than I thought. I was able to answer questions confidently and clearly, and my colleagues were impressed with my presentation. After the presentation, my manager approached me and congratulated me on a job well done. He told me that I had exceeded his expectations and that my language skills had improved significantly. I felt a sense of pride and accomplishment, knowing that I had overcome my fears and doubts. But just as I was celebrating my success, I faced another challenge. One of my colleagues, who had been working on the project with me, approached me and told me that she had some concerns about my language skills. She said that she had noticed some errors in my writing and speaking, and that she was worried that it would affect the quality of our work. I was taken aback by her comments, and I felt a sense of disappointment and frustration. I'd worked so hard to improve my language skills, and I had thought that I was doing well. But as I listened to her feedback, I realized that she was right. I still had a lot to learn and improve. I thanked her for her feedback and asked her to give me more specific examples of my errors. I also asked her if she would be willing to help me improve my language skills, and she agreed. Over the next few weeks, I worked closely with my colleague to improve my language skills. We practiced speaking and writing together, and she gave me feedback on my errors. I also attended additional training sessions and workshops to improve my communication skills. As I looked back on my journey, I realized that learning a new language was not just about mastering grammar and vocabulary. It was also about adapting to a new culture and work style, and being open to feedback and criticism. I was grateful for the challenges I had faced, as they had helped me to grow and improve as a person. And as I sat at my desk, surrounded by my colleagues and the hustle and bustle of the office, I felt a sense of pride and accomplishment. I had overcome my fears and doubts, and I had achieved my goals. I was ready for whatever came next, and I was excited to see where my language skills would take me. Asterisk, asterisk. Chapter 7. Achieving Success, asterisk or asterisk. As I continued to work on my language skills, I started to notice significant improvements. My colleagues were commenting on how much I had improved, and my manager was impressed with my progress. I was able to communicate more effectively with my team, and I was able to understand complex documents and reports. One day, my manager called me into his office and told me that he had some good news. He said that the company was considering me for a promotion and that he wanted to discuss the details with me. I was thrilled and a bit nervous at the same time. As we discussed the promotion, I realized that it was a great opportunity for me. I would be able to take on more responsibilities, and I would be able to work on more challenging projects. I was excited at the prospect of growing and developing my skills further. But as I was about to accept the promotion, I had a moment of doubt. I thought about all the challenges I had faced, and I wondered if I was really ready for this new role. I thought about all the mistakes I had made, and I worried that I would make more mistakes in the future. My manager noticed my hesitation and asked me what was wrong. I told him about my doubts and fears, and he listened attentively. He then smiled and said, "You are ready for this. You have come a long way, and you have shown great potential. I believe in you, and I know you will succeed." His words of encouragement gave me the confidence I needed. I accepted the promotion, and I threw myself into my new role. I worked hard, and I was determined to prove myself. As I looked back on my journey, I realized that I had come a long way. I had faced many challenges, and I had overcome them. I had learned to communicate effectively, and I had developed my skills and confidence. I thought about all the people who had helped me along the way, and I felt grateful. I thought about my manager who had believed in me and given me the opportunity to grow. I thought about my colleagues who had supported me and encouraged me. And I thought about myself, who had worked hard and persevered. I realized that success is not just about achieving a goal, but also about the journey itself. It's about the people you meet, the challenges you face, and the lessons you learn. It's about growing and developing as a person and becoming the best version of yourself. As I sat at my desk, surrounded by my new team and the hustle and bustle of the office, I felt a sense of pride and accomplishment. I had achieved my goal, and I had become a successful professional. I was excited to see what the future held, and I was ready for whatever came next. And as I looked out the window watching the city go by, I smiled. I knew that I had made it, and I knew that I would always be grateful for the journey that had brought me here. I was a success story, and I was proud of it. But as I was basking in the glory of my success, I received an email that changed everything. It was from a prestigious university, and they were offering me a scholarship to pursue my master's degree. I was shocked and thrilled at the same time. I thought about all the possibilities, and I knew that this was an opportunity I couldn't miss. I accepted the scholarship and I threw myself into my studies. I knew that this was the next chapter of my journey, and I was excited to see where it would take me. Asterisk, asterisk. Chapter 8. Next steps. Asterisk, asterisk. I was overjoyed when I received the email from the university. I had always dreamed of pursuing my master's degree, and now I had the opportunity to do so with a full scholarship. I felt like I was on top of the world. I threw myself into my studies, determined to make the most of this opportunity. I worked hard, attending classes and seminars, reading books and articles, and participating in discussions. I was determined to learn as much as I could and to make my family and friends proud. As I progressed through my program, I began to realize just how much I had grown and developed. I had become a confident and capable individual, able to communicate effectively and think critically. I had made new friends and connections, and I had a sense of belonging and purpose. But the best part of my journey was yet to come. As I was nearing the end of my program, I received an email from a prestigious company offering me a job as a marketing manager. I was thrilled and honored, and I knew that this was the opportunity of a lifetime. I accepted the job offer and began working for the company. I was responsible for developing and implementing marketing strategies, working with a team of talented individuals, and communicating with clients. I was in my element, and I loved every minute of it. As I looked back on my journey, I realized just how far I had come. I had overcome obstacles and challenges, and I had achieved my goals. I had become a successful and confident individual with a bright future ahead of me. I thought about all the people who had helped me along the way, and I felt grateful. I thought about my family and friends who had supported me and encouraged me. I thought about my teachers and mentors who had guided me and taught me. And I thought about myself, who had worked hard and persevered. I knew that I owed my success to all of these people, and I was determined to make them proud. I was determined to continue growing and developing, to continue learning and achieving, and I was determined to make a positive impact on the world, to leave a lasting legacy. As I sat at my desk, surrounded by my colleagues and the hustle and bustle of the office, I felt a sense of pride and accomplishment. I had achieved my goals, and I had become a successful and confident individual. I was excited to see what the future held, and I was ready for whatever came next. And as I looked out the window, watching the city go by, I smiled. I knew that I had made it, and I knew that I would always be grateful for the journey that had brought me here. I was a success story, and I was proud of it. Years went by, and I continued to grow and develop as a professional. I became a leader in my field, known for my expertise and my passion. I traveled the world, speaking at conferences and sharing my knowledge with others, and I continued to learn and grow, always seeking new challenges and opportunities. And through it all, I never forgot where I came from. I never forgot the struggles and challenges that I had faced, and I never forgot the people who had helped me along the way. I remained humble and grateful, always remembering the journey that had brought me to where I was. In the end, I realized that success is not just about achieving goals, but about the journey itself. It's about the people you meet, the challenges you face, and the lessons you learn. It's about growing and developing as a person and becoming the best version of yourself. And as I looked back on my journey, I knew that I had truly lived a life of purpose and meaning. I had achieved my goals, and I had made a positive impact on the world. And I knew that I would always be grateful for the journey that had brought me here.